Lots of people make music, and most of those people make their music by flicking through presets on VST plugins. But producers who actually know what they're doing in the studio don't use presets because they actually understand synthesis and audio engineering and how to create and manipulate sounds. And they can take what is in their head and make that happen using their gear without relying on presets. I think most people know this, so at some point they put in some effort to learn the plugins that they're using, but the problem with that is most of the plugins out there, they've got these creative, interesting interfaces, but they're abstracting away the underlying synthesis concepts, so you never actually learn anything real. You're just locked into using that specific plugin and you don't understand the underlying concepts. Of course, the absolute best way to learn synthesis is on a modular system, and nowadays there's VCV Rack, so you can also do it absolutely for free without buying anything at all. But having the physical VCOs, VCFs, VCAs, function generators and sequencers that you can physically patch together, that's how you actually learn and start understanding what's going on in the studio, not just in making electronic music, but in audio engineering more broadly. So you decide to fly to Berlin and walk into Schneidersladen, the most important modular synth shop in the world, and you hear blub 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 blub, and you think, why does everyone just make that kind of noise? Like, that's whack. If I had these really expensive systems, I would make way better music than that. And then you approach a massive wall of synth modules and start patching stuff in. And for the first 15 minutes, you can't work out how to get any sound come out the speakers, and then when you finally get some sound come out, it sounds like meh, and then so you spend another half an hour in front of the thing and you finally figured out how to get something moving, some notes going on, and you're starting to make some sound, and guess what it sounds like? That's right, it sounds like blub 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 blub, like everyone else that you laughed at when you walked in the store. Why is this? A modular synth's just destined to make blub 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 noises? Is that the full extent of the range of sounds that can come out of these expensive systems? No. The truth is that when you're presented with a completely blank slate without any presets or anything done for you already, you're presented for the first time in your music making life the cold hard reality that you actually need to know what the you're doing. And that's exactly why I've been very busy working hard on an extensive online course teaching everything I know about synthesis, whether you're a beginner and you have no idea what anything does, or whether you already have a Eurorack set up. There's a huge amount of content teaching specific synthesis techniques in the correct way, so you can stop being a preset loser and start being a synthesis master. But as I said already, there's absolutely no need to own thousands of euros worth of Eurorack gear, because all of this is one-to-one identical conceptually to VCV Rack. And you've got many other bits of software nowadays, like the new stuff in Bitwig Studio, which is really cool, and it translates in a very meaningful way as well into Max MSP and many other stuff that you can do in software for free or without buying the actual hardware. But for anyone actually looking to learn Eurorack and get the hardware, I'm going to be teaching you everything that you really need to know about that as well. So I think everyone who's already used to my direct, no bullshit teaching style is going to appreciate this course. And like I always do when I launch new courses, I'm going to give a massive early bird discount of 25% off if you use the code KNOWLEDGE at the checkout. But this discount is only going to be valid for 48 hours because, as always, it's an early bird discount, so be sure not to miss it, because then it's going to be full price, and I don't do clown discounts on my products. So it's pretty much this early bird, and then it's going to be at that price forevermore. So don't miss out the early bird discount if you want to get yourself 25% off. But anyone who doesn't want to be a preset loser but isn't ready to grab my course yet, well, stay tuned, because I'm going to show you some cool stuff on the modular system right now, because I recently got in contact with my favorite Eurorack manufacturer of all time, Make Noise, and they're one of the few manufacturers who experimented a bit more with the concept of stereo synthesis in the Eurorack form, because mostly everything is mono by default with modular synthesis. And so I thought that'd be really cool to talk about stereo synthesis and the new cutting edge stuff like manufacturers such as Make Noise are doing. And I didn't have any stereo modules to demonstrate that, so I reached out to them and wanted to see if they wanted to collab on something. And to my very pleasant surprise, they agreed to send out a couple of modules to demonstrate some stereo synthesis stuff. And they've got the XPO, which is a stereo oscillator, and the DXG, which is stereo low pass gate. create. And so we're going to have a look at these modules in action and talk about stereo synthesis right now, because these modules are absolutely sick, and I'm thrilled to actually do a collab with Make Noise because they're literally my favorite manufacturer of Eurorack modules and I'm a massive fan of them. Let's have a look what these modules can do. So if you found that interesting, I would highly recommend checking out Make Noise. As I say, they're my favorite manufacturer of Eurorack modules. I'm not just kind of hyping them up because they sent the modules my way. Legit, I am actually a massive fan of their stuff and have been for over a decade. I'm also a fan of IntelliGel and a few other manufacturers, but Make Noise for me, they're absolute #1 first place. But the thing is, Make Noise don't only just do Eurorack modules, they've also got a few really cool desktop instruments. So you've got the No Coast and the Strager. And these are really cool for anyone who wants to kind of dip their toe into kind of semi-modular synthesis, like patching stuff in and getting really interesting cool sounds that you can't do on your standard synths, and you want something hardware, something nice on your desktop, but you don't want to spend an arm and a leg on an entire modular system. Well, I would highly recommend checking out the No Coast and the Strager. They're really cool desktop devices and super fun to play with. I don't have them because I just have a full modular setup, but if I didn't, I would definitely get something like a No Coast. It's so cool. But if you do want to dip your toe into the world of modular and start building a system, I would highly recommend the very first module that you buy be Make Noise Maths. And I like it so much, I've got 2 of them. I think every system should have maths. And in my course, I'm just going almost every lesson we're using maths. It's such an indispensable module. As I say, Make Noise absolutely smashed it. I'm honored to collab with them on this video. And so check out Make Noise, their website. But I'm not an affiliate. I'm not getting any money from you buying any of their products. I don't have any affiliate links whatsoever. I'm just doing a genuine shout out to amazing company. And in exchange, they sent over those modules, which I demonstrated, which are absolutely sick, by the way. And I really, really like them. And I'll be using them in my music going forwards.